Blender is hard to learn, right? Around Christmas time, I used Blender for the first time, but shortly after I quit. Since I'm now interested in remaking Mario minigames, I thought I'd give myself a challenge. I set a goal to model every Mario character in this photo in 7 days. I'll start with Toad and I'll work my way up. This challenge was supposed to be impossible, but the results blew my mind. Day one was simple. I watched a ton of different tutorials and made a bunch of these little characters. I learned 2 massive things that changed the game: sculpting and then shrink wrapping. Sculpting is when you add a bunch of different faces and you can grab, inflate, and do almost anything to get the shape that you want. Another game changer was shrink wrap. Grab a plane, subdivide it, and shrink wrap it to the object. You can even solidify it to give it some girth. After about 6 hours, I gave it another shot trying to model Toad with my new tools. I was finally able to get the shape I wanted, being able to shrink wrap the eyes and stuff. And wait a second. Guys, I swear I was just bad at this. Toad looks amazing, and this was supposed to be hard. This changed the way I see this challenge. Not as impossible, but possible. With 6 days remaining, I had my work cut out. If I wanted to complete it, I had 9 more characters to complete with only 6 days remaining. Day 2, I was confident. There's lots of Yoshi tutorials out there, so I made sure to learn how they make him. And I struggled with getting his head right, making his white cheeks look good. But after a few hours, it came out pretty good. I basically copied how they made the body and the boots, and in 3 hours, it was complete. So I know what some of you guys are probably thinking. So you got a tutorial for every character? Well, I would if I could, but there isn't any tutorials for them. I just can't find them. But even with the Mario tutorial, I struggled. Mario is significantly more complex than Yoshi and Toad, and it showed. Struggling with his head shape, hat, overall straps, and overall, Mario coming out just alright. I'll give myself a pass on this one, but I need to see better work. Day 3, I was working on Luigi, but something was different. I didn't feel like I needed a tutorial. I just enjoyed sculpting. I was taking my time and it really showed. I learned to lower the roughness to give the character some shine, and Luigi looked phenomenal. I started doing things my own way and figuring out my own solutions. I spent 6 hours sculpting Luigi. He is by far the best thing I've modeled so far. But I ran into a problem. I was modeling Peach, but I couldn't do the hair. I just couldn't do it. That night I laid in bed and realized something. I might not be able to do Peach, but I can do Waluigi and Wario. And I swapped their positions and got to work on Waluigi, which I thought was easier, but compared to Luigi, he was on another level. Also, why can't I find any good references? I had to settle with a different Waluigi, which definitely confused me at some times. The hardest part was his head, and if it was good or not. After a few hours, I took the plunge and started adding his features, his nose, his teeth, eyes, mustache, and his hair and hat. It ended up working out. I thought he looked pretty good. Waluigi's body is simple, so that wasn't a big problem. And after about 6 hours, Waluigi was complete. I started working on Wario, but I wasn't able to find a side reference photo, which I thought wasn't a problem, but it freaking was, man. On day 5, I desperately tried to find a side profile. Like, I was modeling for a bit, but then I'd go back to the internet and I'd be like, someone please just have one, please. And I actually did find one. But now we're on to another problem. Wario's head is freaking confusing. It's hard to understand it in a 3D fashion, and I struggle a lot. But just like Waluigi's head, it took some time. Spent like 2 hours. I mean, it doesn't look like it, guys, but I spent like 2 hours freaking just to make this. I'm not even joking. It's just so confusing and weird. And then at some point I gave up. I was like, okay, let me just add the features. And I did. I added all the features, and all of a sudden it looked like Wario. But we're not done yet. Waluigi, his head was basically it. The body was like, not really much. It looks like me. But Wario is nice and fat and plump. He's got big arms. Actually, that's basically it. He's fat, he's got big arms. But I actually ended up really enjoying making Wario's body. His fat, delicious, plump body. And Wario came up freaking amazing. He is the best model I made by far. Day 6, I tried modeling Peach again, but I was sick of it. I was sick of modeling, and I just gave up. I didn't care about completing this stupid challenge anymore. It wasn't fun, it was tedious, and it really felt like I was doing something wrong because it was taking like 6 hours for every freaking one of them. Mainly like 4 for the head and 2 for the body usually. Day 7 rolled around and I reluctantly did Peach, but I didn't do the hair. I actually left that out, but I worked on the body, and the body was simple, and I still cheaped down on it because I just got sick of it. Modeling for 8 to 10 hours every day. When I got to Peach's hair, I ended up learning a new way to make hair strains, which at first I thought it looked pretty good, and then I realized it didn't. It looked like freaking spaghetti noodle on her face. Day 8, I officially failed the challenge. But did I really? I modeled better than I ever had before, and I felt like I spent enough time not modeling to dive right back in to this challenge. So I give myself 3 more days for 3 more models. Starting with Daisy, and something shocked me. She didn't look like shit. It actually looked good. This time I didn't slack off with the dress, and Daisy came out amazing. Day 9, I worked on Donkey Kong, who was by far one of the most unique looking characters, but I managed to figure him out, and he ended up looking pretty good. I did slack on the fans, fingers in the hands, don't look at them. Day 10, and this was the final model. I was excited to finish. I don't know if Bowser's actually the hardest model, but I do know he's the biggest model. Once again, like Donkey Kong, I did get lazy on the hands and the feet because I don't know how to model them. I spent 2 hours trying to freaking morph something together, and it just looks kind of mid anyway. So I just didn't. But there you guys have it. Challenge complete. I learned a lot during this challenge, and I feel like I'm confident enough to make really any little model, any character model that I want now, which is sick. The next video, I'm going to be learning to draw Mario characters so that I can make thumbnails and stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, subscribe, and 2 weeks, probably see you.